Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ballerina. Welcome back, you guys, to part 2 of our very certified commentary on the pas de deux that dancers fear, which is, of course, the one, the only Grand Pas Classique.
If you missed part 1 of this series, we will link it above and below. In that video, we covered the adagio, which is the first portion of this pas de deux.
The near impossible section.
That too. So in this video, we're going to be covering the next few sections of the pas de deux, the male variation, the female variation, and of course, the coda, or finale.
I would dare to say that the male variation and the female variation of the Grand Pas Classique are equally terrifying and equally iconic as the adagio in the other section. Both of them are famously technically difficult, and they really push the individual skills of the dancer and the ballerina.
And of course, the coda obviously does not shy away from its fair share of tricks and spectacles. So if you're ready to be amazed, be wowed, have your socks knocked off and all of that, then make sure you tap the like button and let's get going.
As always, for context, you guys, we already covered quite a bit about the Grand Pas Classique in the other video, but to briefly summarize, the Grand Pas Classique was choreographed by Victor Gsovsky and premiered in 1949.
The music in this piece was composed by Daniel Francois Aubert. We talked about a lot more in the other video, but this whole piece is kind of inspired by pas de pas era, like classical era ballet. And so you'll see a lot of the inspirations from, the big pas de pas ballets, Don Quixote, Sleeping Beauty. You can see a lot of the choreography and the different passages kind of reflected and mirrored in the Grand Pas Classique, as well as the general layout of the pas de deux, with the adagio and then the 2 solos for both dancers and then the coda to finish. That sequence was codified originally by pas de pas.
That's the pas de pas structure.
Yeah, exactly.
The Grand Pas de deux template is always
adagio,
entrance, adagio, solo, solo, coda.
Exactly. I think the purpose for pas de pas codified sequence for the Grand Pas de deux is to showcase not just the dancers together, but to also showcase, their differences and their skills individually.
Right.
And then finish it together, strong.
Come together for the end, ta-da, we're done.
Exactly. So that's sort of pas de pas template, and I think that it generally has a very well-balanced dynamic throughout. So you start slow with the adagio typically, and then it builds a little with his variation. We come down a little bit because it's, generally the female variations are a little softer, and then we hype it back up for the end. And so it's not a roller coaster, but it's a gentle one. It's like riding on the waves, sort of. And so it has different levels and dynamics, so it never feels stale. You never get bored. And I think that's why this template, the pas de pas codified Grand Pas de deux template, is always a bestseller.
It's timeless.
It really is. And so with that out of the way, now that we kind of know what we're going to be looking at today, let's get into the commentary. Okay. As always, we're going to be using our favorite couple in this pas de deux, Vladimir Malakhov and Tatiana Paley. This recording is from 1991, so it's not the greatest, clearest resolution, you might say, but I think that their clarity, like their technical clarity, will outshine any technical camera clarity. You know what I'm saying?
Their technique will shine through even though the camera is bad.
They're absolutely exquisite. We did look at them in the adagio in the last video because they're absolutely dazzling.
They make this incredibly hard pas de deux look so easy.
It looks like a dream rather than a nightmare.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
They make it look so effortless and so easy. Well, let's just get into it. You'll see what we're talking about. So, of course, we just left off with the adagio. We had a break. We can assume there was a reference. And now we're gonna go into his variation. I really like this passage, this first one starting out.
Breaking it down for y'all, we have a giant coupé jeté, or tombe coupé jeté, traveling forward.
Or en avant.
Yes, en avant, on a diagonal down the stage. And coming out of that jeté, he has to channel all of that forward energy into a perfect upright axis.
Complete stillness.
Because if you don't find that axis, that tour following it is not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
But as you can see, clearly, he does not have any problems with this. Straight up, land. Wow.
That axis line is so clean, you guys. And so musical, look at this. This is music incarnate.
Yeah.
And now we have a manège, very classical era ballet of them.
Travel all the way around the stage.
He makes it look so effortless. You don't see any jerking or reaction in the vertebra or in the upper body at all. It's very light, very easy.
It has that really poised regalness.
Yeah.
Like the princely demeanor that we want.
Exactly. Especially because if you look at a lot of the big Petit Pas ballets, you know, that all features, you know, that prince sort of character as our male protagonist. And so I feel like this kind of carries that essence.
Yep. See that stillness right there? I'm here, look at me.
And he's not afraid to take that moment of silence, even though the music keeps going. And I feel like a lot of times, you know, you feel like you have to always be moving as long as the music is moving. But I feel like there's a lot of power in that stillness right there, because it shows he's not afraid to take up that space that he so proudly occupies. The music can go on. He'll always be on time.
Exactly.
And he leads us to this corner to the next step.
Look how much he traveled on that awesome leg. He just, wow.
It's like, what is that?
Shot put.
No.
Javelin.
Yeah, it's like the one where they throw the stick. I'm so sorry. They throw the stick. It has this like,
yeah, like
that's the
javelin.
feeling. It has that sort of energy into the floor, and it's just so strong and so stable and musical. You guys, this is incredible. Once again, that traveling, gathering that energy, and then straight up and down. Again, the axis on these tours are absolutely impeccable. The fifth is like inseparable.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we want.
That's kind of what helps hold the axis.
And he's not afraid to use his plie here, which is the other thing, because I feel like
it's hard to consistently hit the deepest plie.
Yeah, with the turnout, with all the muscles engaged, you don't want to give yourself fully into the plie at times. At least that's my observation with a lot of developing dancers.
Because you're scared. You kind of want to, you're worried
about...
about...
hold back a little.
Yeah, and you're worried about getting to the next jump.
Exactly.
So you forget to hit that plie.
The more you play, the more potential energy you have. And it's not about just hitting the deepest plie you have, but he's clearly strong enough and developed himself enough to use it in a very efficient and powerful way. This whole passage is incredible. I really love him in this passage. And again, he just keeps the demeanor so soft. It's not flashy. It's not too showy. It still has that very calm, princely demeanor.
Yeah. Just that this is ballet.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Clean fifth every time. Watch these turns.
Exquisite.
And straight to the knee.
Straight to the knee. No fidgeting. It was very easy.
Yeah.
Very collected. And what I loved is that even while the legs are kind of going away from each other, if you look at it, his center line, or aplomb as you would call it, doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's very stable, it's very steady, and it's very consistent.
Yeah.
And he doesn't let it go, and so it looks that much more controlled and that much easier for the audience to appreciate, because it doesn't look like he's struggling.
Yeah.
So you don't feel anxious for him. It feels very grounded, it feels very easy.
Yeah, and that aplomb allows him to hit that perfect fifth every time.
Every time.
Perfectly up and down. He doesn't travel at all. He just easy.
Both feet pressing off at the same amount, so that way he always lands in the same spot. He's not like kind of jumping on an angle anywhere. It's almost perfection. I know perfection's elusive, you guys. This is pretty close.
Look at that. When he lands to the knee, which is, again, a very quintessential danseur thing. Almost every danseur will land to the knee at some point in some role. But it's not a rebound.
Yeah.
There's no rebound. It's a squeeze. Everything's controlled.
There's a resistance, a slight resistance. Just enough to eliminate any bounce or rebound that you might have getting to the floor. It's polished.
It's really
polished. It's so squeaky
and here
clean.
he is, just majestic. I'm really just in awe of the cleanliness of this variation.
Yeah,
this is danseur technique.
This is a study on the danseur.
Amazing job, Vladimir Malakov.
Drop some clapping emojis in the comments.
He will hopefully got his ample applause.
And then after this, we're gonna transition into the female variation. So stay tuned. All right, you guys, we are ready to get into the female variation.
I would say female variations can vary quite a lot in terms of the skills that they showcase.
For sure. Ballerina is known for a lot of different things. Footwork is one of them. Yep. There's a lot of variations that have a lot of stuff on point, little tiny things like that. There are a lot of variations that focus on turns. There are some that focus on jumps.
Some that are more adagio as well.
That too, really slow, controlled movements.
I would say this female variation specifically in the Grand Pas Classique focuses a lot on point work.
Yes,
which,
for sure.
Again, I think is very fitting because it's quintessentially ballerina.
It's very ballerina.
You think of ballerina, you think of point work. And so she's coming in here and she's going to show all of those skills that we work on as female dancers. But of course, this one is absolutely iconic. I think this is one of the most feared female variations
definitely out there. Yeah, there are a couple of trick steps in here, as we'll talk about in a second. So let's get into it with Tatiana Paley and the female variation of the Grand Pas Classique.
Gracious gesture.
Yes.
To both sides of the audience. Look at her control here.
It's smooth, it's luscious, it's like more like velvet than silk.
Yeah.
Like there's some variations that are very silky.
And like glossy and fluid.
And they're equally beautiful, but I think it's just her quality in this variation, the way she brings a little bit more of that depth into it and that sort of smoothness and that luxurious quality into it, I think is really captivating.
Yeah, as you can see in the first passage, it's very measured, calculated, and I think that's sort of the vibe you're supposed to bring to this variation.
Yes, for
sure. There's not a ton of flashy charisma. It's very understated, kind of coy.
It's very coy.
Like showing off, but
not showing off.
But not showing off. It's just like demure.
That's exactly the word she used for this. It's almost a little flirtatious, but not begging for attention.
Exactly.
It's just
quiet confidence.
Yeah, it's a quiet confidence.
And look at that beautiful resistance in the plie she gives us.
Yeah, it has the pull moments, and it also has the sharp and precise moments.
Yeah.
And that contrast really brings a beautiful balance to her interpretation of this variation. Even just from lower body to upper body, it's so smooth and luscious with the top, while the bottom is doing all these really, really precise little footwork things.
She's really gorgeous with it. There are no extra tiny steps.
There's no faltering in anything.
And that's something that, honestly, if you were to see it in a dancer, like, you would probably kind of overlook it.
Yeah, you would
because,
overlook it.
You know, we're human. It's a live art.
Yeah.
Those kind of tiny little adjustment steps do happen. But when you see a dancer that doesn't do that, like, freezes, like the pause button.
Yeah, it literally just freezes, stops time altogether. But on the flip side, every plie she uses, it never is a static position. I'm gonna reference Mr. Do on YouTube. Hi, if you're watching. His saying is keep the plie alive. And that's exactly what she did.
I see it, yeah.
When you go back to this very beginning, plie, and it never stops. She goes into it and then she continues.
Yeah.
It's not plie and sit there.
Yeah.
And then you continue. It's continuous. And again, the sign of like a very polished, very developed dancer is being able to use the grounded moments to your advantage and to have control and mastery over them. And you can see that concept throughout this next passage. Everything is so smooth. She never sits in the plie.
That line on her is just stunning because it's so turned out, melts into that plie.
And holds your attention the whole time.
Magnetic.
No words. We're not even halfway through, you guys. Love this passage.
That was addictive. Oftentimes, you'll see a lot of dancers that kind of just do a nice développé, but she adds a little extra artistic flair with this and making that resistance for that leg. It unfolds slowly. Resistance meaning as if there's someone pushing against that leg.
Exactly.
So you have a tension as it goes out instead of just
sticking it out there.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily a mandatory quality for this particular passage. And a lot of times the ballerina will have, her own interpretation. But I think what I like about her decision to add that extra resistance on this passage is because it matches the music.
Yeah.
And I think the music was her inspiration behind that decision, and it matched so beautifully.
Because the music pulled da da da.
Yeah, but you still also have that bum. So you have that beat, obviously, with the landing, but then you have that resistance and that pull just to contrast it and match that tone of the music, which is
masterful.
Masterfully done.
Beautiful artistic choice. Really gorgeous. I love that pull and lift the face.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
The same way that he did in his variation, she matches that poise. Look at me now. Dialogue with the audience is so important, you guys.
Yeah. Especially because the choreography allows it. But she doesn't shy away from it. And even this walking around, she takes so much time, so much liberty.
She's not rushing. She's not insecure.
She's a queen.
She is a queen.
She's a queen.
Here we go, though. By the way, this is the trick section of the variation coming up right here. We have beautiful effacé, à la seconde, and turn.
Entournant. This is a really huge test of the ballerina's stamina and technique. Not only are you doing this incredibly difficult passage with changing from the front to the side, play it in the second without dropping the leg and bringing it into that single controlled turn. While all that's very difficult, she continues this
for a long
time, you guys.
And the thing is, you're supposed to be nonchalant with it.
Yeah, it's not something you can hide behind flair.
Yeah, you can't hide behind flair.
You can't hide drama. You can't hide behind acting. You're just here.
Hands on your waist.
Hands on your waist. You can't even use your arms to help you here. Nothing's there except you and your legs and your feet and your connection with the audience to fool them, hopefully. That is not as hard as it feels.
You know, just time for my daily relevés, that's all. Look how crisp she is with it. We'll continue, because she
nails this.
Keeps that leg at the same level.
At a very clean 45 degrees.
And you think she'd be done, but oh no.
We continue.
And now we use a little arm just to prove to you that I don't need both hands on my waist to hold myself. And the thing is, the arm, it can't do anything like this. That's to be gracious. Tiny flick of the wrist.
Yeah, just a little.
Tiny allongé with the arm.
You can't see.
You can't see. Tiny allongé there. Just to prove that you're still at ease.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing.
It's like flick of the wrist, like.
It's so easy, but heaven knows it's not.
Heaven knows.
This is a really, really difficult passage.
Stunning.
Taking up that space, you guys.
I think at this point when you're dancing it, you're like, thank God.
Yeah.
If you get those relevés, everything else you're like.
The rest of it's easy.
Comparatively
easy. So if you get past this, it's like, all right, that's it.
You feel like you've won the whole world.
You feel, you really feel like you've done everything.
But of course, you still gotta stay focused because there's the rest of the variation to go.
Of course. And of course, we have our manège.
So tight.
Look at that spot, you guys. The spot is impeccable.
It's like
so sharp. It's almost like two-dimensional. You just see one side and you see the other. There's not like a circle.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Stops on a dime. She literally stops on a dime. The same way that we saw Vladimir in his variation. Squeeze to that finish. No rebound.
It's just
boom.
There. There's no rebound. There's no bounce. There's no fidgeting. There's no faltering. It's literally just perfect. Anyway, brava to Tatiana Haley.
Absolutely.
No other words, honestly.
If your socks are still on your feet and your shoes are still on your feet,
then you didn't watch it close enough. Rewind and watch it again. It was the whole package. Anyway, we're gonna take a break, go and stretch your legs a little bit, and we'll come back with a coda. All right, you guys, it's time for the final section of the Grand Pas Classique, and that is, of course, the Coda. This music, you guys, is terribly fun.
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
Musically, it's like a little parade. It
feels-
sounds like a parade.
It feels like a parade. The Coda here, I feel like, is extremely classical.
Oh, yeah.
Starts with him and his jumps and turns. And then after him, she comes in with her fouettes, which is very typical of Don Quixote, Black Swan. It feels very much like that classical era Petapat Coda.
Yeah. And then after that, they join together and
Exactly.
they finish it off.
Finish it off with some big turns and stuff. It's very Petapat, very classical.
Like we said, this is sort of them showing off like what they got.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you've shown your skills in your variation,
Yeah.
and now it's like, let's do fun tricks.
Yeah, just let loose.
Let loose.
And-
I can do funner tricks than you can, and they kind of have that like energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right off the bat, look how fast and clean his beats are, which is stunning. With, I'm sorry, I can't.
We're never gonna get to the end.
I can't form a train of thought. I'm so focused on like his immaculate battery. He skims across the floor.
He literally looks like, you know how the dragonflies kind of just skim on the water? Like,
Yeah.
they just dart and they just hover.
They're
It
being-
has that same
Just a
effect.
dragonfly.
And it's so consistent, crossed
Yeah.
fully every time. The landings are so clean. The way he does it is so polished, so clean.
It's crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
The camera quality can't even pick up his beats. That's how fast and clean and small they are.
Yeah, it's literally a blur on this recording. His feet are a blur. And yet it's so
Yeah, here.
controlled and so easy, and nothing
Skims
reacts.
across.
He's in control. He's just riding on the step. He owns it. Let's go.
There you go. Oh my god.
Next passage, I really love this passage, but he adds a little extra flair. Here we go. Awesome play.
Double tour.
Landing on one foot. And into this releve.
Développé.
I think we said this in the other video, but a lot of the times the male variations / codas are very, very adaptable because there's a lot of different skills that dancers have like
Uniquely.
unique to them, and I think that, you know, it's in your best interest
To show off
to
what-
show off your, you know, your gifts, your skills, and
Yeah.
you know, your sort of unique tricks. And so what he does here, like we said, you know, after this double tour, instead of landing on 2 feet, he lands only on 1 foot, goes straight into this releve, a little bit of like a half turn, I'd
Yeah.
say, before continuing the passage. And again, the plie is never just a static position. He uses it fully and uses it efficiently as well.
And again, I'm so glad he chose to do this passage this way because these are, you know, the skills he's honed.
Exactly.
And so you can
exactly.
utilize, again, the stronger your body is and the more technique you have, the cooler things you were able to pull off.
Exactly.
Let's watch it again. It's so addictive.
You get the quality in the transitions,
Yeah.
not just like the main step, but also the transitions. This chasse, it has this acceleration, and it's such a beautiful way to lead up into that ensemble and into that tour.
I just like that you can hear there's like the flute that's voicing this melody in this passage here.
Yeah.
And so he makes it light.
Yeah,
He
he
makes
does.
it that releve développé half turn is sort of just
It's just light.
it's
breezy.
joyous, it's
Yeah.
light.
It has that quality, and I really, really love this.
Gorgeous.
And so consistent.
Again, using the plie there.
Yeah, the plie again. Look at these turns.
And here you go. And to you. Again, very danseur thing. After he's done his tricks, he'll be like, over to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's very classical, very ballet etiquette. And here we go. You guys, this fouette passage.
Let's break this down.
Let's break this
Because it's kind of hard to see when she's turning so fast.
You can start. I have no words.
Oh my God.
I'm still in shock.
Okay, so what she does fouette, single fouette, meaning you turn once. Then she does a double fouette, turn twice. Third fouette, single. Fourth time she does a fouette, and instead of coming down, she opens the leg and does another extra whip up the leg on the releve and stays in balance and does another turn from there.
You guys, this is a unique trick. Not every ballerina can do this.
That's true.
Or will do this in this coda. But again, coda is very adaptable to the
You
ballerina's
show
and
off your
danseurs
tricks.
sort of skills. So if you can do the tricks, this is the place to do it. And she did not hold back anything.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of different versions. Some ballerinas will do straight fouettes and, you know, maybe add doubles or triples or, you know, if they're really good turners. I've seen some that do fouette, fouette, a la second turn, meaning you releve and keep the leg in second.
There's a lot of different versions, but this I feel like is really, really hard. But as you'll see in a bit, she's consistent, you guys.
Yeah.
You guys, look at that center line.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
And finish.
I am deceased.
That's it. That's all.
Again, stops on a dime.
Stops on a dime. It's not around and around. It's flip, flip, flip. It's so clean.
Like her center of energy is gathered.
So tight.
Straight to the core.
Finish. And that's it.
I'm starstruck, you guys. Like, I don't know if you can see the stars, but they're there.
Let's finish it off. Otherwise, we'll be here all day.
And they join forces.
Here we go.
Gorgeous.
This is kind of the rest step.
Cut, undercut, and change.
They match so well. Look at that.
They're so in sync.
You guys, the beats, again, clean. They match the music. They match each other, the exact angle. It's just, everything matches so perfectly.
The speed of the beat.
Also their energy.
Yep.
You can see they both have that, projecting that very
collected,
but also now it's a little bit more energetic, a little bit warmer even.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's the end. They're
like,
here and they're together and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, again, the quiet confidence.
Yeah,
that like smirk at each other. This is ballet.
This is ballet. It's almost so perfect, it doesn't even look real.
It looks like it's animated.
It looks like it could have been animated. This is incredibly beautiful. You could pause them at any point. They're the exact same position.
Yeah.
I kid you not. Pause literally anywhere along this passage. They're like identical. You guys.
Yeah, they literally are.
I'm not joking. Pause literally anywhere. They're in the exact same position. Is that not humorous?
They're so synced.
They're so synced.
This is like, they're like telepathically connected at this
That
point.
is like a different level of perfection. I love this. This is incredible. Let's watch this again.
And the music here is just excellent. Stunning.
And here we go. Big turns to finish.
So classical.
So pas de pas. Whip turn. Whip turn. And finish. This is perfect. Perfection's elusive, but if there is anything and we could say was really close, this would be it.
This is a recording from 1991. It's casually floating around on the internet.
Casually.
Just to change the world. Like, how? They're so good.
They're so good, you guys.
So there you have it, the pas de deux that dancers fear and audiences adore.
Yes.
Is generally revered and applauded by all.
If you enjoyed this video and appreciated the dancers we got to watch today, then make sure you please tap the like button to applaud them. That's kind of like your applause button. And if you really enjoy commentaries like this one, we have a whole playlist of all the ballet commentaries that we have done on this channel. There's a lot on there. We are also taking requests for future ballet commentaries. So if you have any ballet pieces that you would like us to commentate on or you just want our opinions on, make sure to leave your requests in the comments below and also make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it in case you're your idea gets chosen. So subscribe.
And as always, a huge thank you to all of our patrons on our Patreon channel who are collectively really doing the most to help us keep making exquisite, very certified ballet nerd content for you guys. And if you would like to join this long list of angels that help us to do what we do, then the link to our Patreon will be below if you would like to support us there, and we are looking forward to having you. Anyways, I think that is all from us for now. This is Ballerina signing off. Until the next video. Bye. Okay. And
Sorry. You are insufferable. Oh
you're insufferable.
We are
the champions.